Hi, I'm Sulaksha Priolker. Uh, Before me, I've listened to Rajesh sir and DB Desai sir. They are the first generation, and I'm the second generation in this field of I'm mutual fund distributor. The first question is, how did I come into this profession? So just going back few years, I've come in this profession in 2018 August. Earlier to this profession, I was working for a firm, which is a fertilizer company, Zuari Agros, as a mechanical engineer. I was there as a maintenance head, or you can chief manager maintenance was the position. So in 2014, so I'm like it's a story. So in 2014, when I was working with Zuari, I've thought that I should be staying in Goa or should I be going abroad to work for my career progression. So at that point of time, during the discussions with my family, particularly my father-in-law, Mr. Hari Kamath, he realized that I'm thinking of a career which will help me settle in Goa as well as give the progress. So he said, so I think he went back, he thought over it and he said, why don't you come and join me? This is a very noble profession and I would like you to look up to this profession and take in step by step towards it. So from 2014 till 2018, it was almost 3.5 years of my internal thought process whether I would be able to love this profession. So I used to go for all the AMC meetings with him. People used to find me saying that okay, he's joining, but I was still working for Zuari, I was not joining. I started looking at the advisory at that point of time, MFD profession from inside, like sitting in his office, looking at the softwares, trying to see, sitting with him for certain client meetings, the clients who are very close to him as a family member, uh, where I observed that what I was doing at Zuari, though being an engineer, and what the MFDs do is not much of a difference. In any organization, when you rise up, what you simply manage is the capital and you manage people. So over here, and you manage mostly people's behavior and emotions. In this MFD professions, I would say we do the same. So we need to manage. So that's what I found that, that's a common part of my earlier profession now. And the second thing is interacting with people I always loved. So that is the second thing which, came up to me and I said I should join. So then once I have decided I should join, the only question is when. So that took me almost 1.5 years to be very precise, that how should I join, should I leave or do it as a part-time. But again, as Mr. Hari Kamath in the morning, if you all heard him and said this, there's nothing part-time, you need to be full-time. So the same thought came to me and I said, if I'm into it, I need to do justice to people whom I meet. And for that, I need to be in it as a full-time. So I joined in August 2018. So that is how I entered into the profession. So the last 5 years is basically a knowledge ride to me. There are certain things I always believe earlier profession in this profession, knowledge, as DB sir, Rajesh sir has said, knowledge is the key in any profession. So in mutual fund distributor, I decided that since I am joined and I had no earlier background, DB sir has banking profession, sir was CA, stockbroker earlier to MFD. I was an engineer earlier to MFD. So people used to come and tell me, what are you doing becoming an MFD? So the first thing I did is I started upgrading my credibility, the credentials I had. So I did NISM exams, I did the 5B, I did CFP. Why? Because experience will come to the new MFDs over time. The first thing which people see today could be the credentials. So I could at least, when I'm talking to, set a base that when I've come in this profession, it's the credibility I have or the credentials that I have make me suitable for at least the person to listen to me. And the experience I get from the backing of Mr. Hari Kamath is the second thing when people should look at me and interact with me as a client. So that is the base I started in the last 5 years. And after that, the pandemic has given me a very good outlook towards technology. In 2019, we were thinking whether we should set up a website and a mobile application and give transaction capabilities to our client. In December 2019, we were sitting with our InvestWell team, the software provider. And in March 2020, when our product was all ready in January 2020, but we had a big doubt, as Mr. Kamath and I also had a doubt, that once we give them the capability of an app to transact, we would see a lot of redemptions happening through the app, which how will we curtail or control? But after the lockdown in April, we said this is the time we need to put, and we gave them capabilities, and instead of redemption, we saw we could do sales in a lockdown. Hari Kamath sitting in Panjim, I'm sitting in Margao, and clients sitting in their own place, and still people investing. Because people had disposable money, they were looking at the markets, they were looking at it, some people were looking at it as an opportunity to enter and make good returns over the next future. So the second thing I learned in the pandemic is, one is the technology, and the third is the markets can be unpredicted. On 23rd March 2020, I remember the market started coming down. So it was a first kind of a thing for me, something like this is also possible. So then I remembered, so again I'll go back slightly from this point, as asset allocation. In 2019, after I joined Mr. Hari Kamath, I met Mr. Nilesh Shah in Goa for one of his events. So after the event, Mr. Kamath introduced me to Mr. Nilesh Shah, and he asked Mr. Nilesh Shah, being very nice guy, he said, Sulaksha, ask me anything, any one question, anything for you, I'm there, and you ask me. So I asked him, if somebody gives me 1 crore today in 2019 December, what would I do with that money? So he said, simple, you take it into your debt funds. At that point of time, debt funds were there, and you do a STP over a period of 8 months, 1 year. And when chance gives you, and if the market gives you chance, do the changeover depending on the asset allocation. These words will always remember with me, because in 2019, we had a client who I attended to, I would say one of my first clients, who gave me 65 lakhs. We did the same approach. In March, markets corrected, their assets were reversed. It was 30 equity, 70 debt. The client was mid-aged, so equity exposure could have been increased. We got an opportunity to enter, and that's when I realized that mentors like Kanak sir, Nilesh sir will always be there. So that's the point. The third point in the pandemic which I learned is, yes, you need to be attending to all the talks and listening to all the fund managers wherever possible. As DB sir said, I always admire him. He comes all the way. We are in Goa only. He comes all the way from Kudal to attend this thing. So today also I asked him a question. I said, sir, when did you start in the morning? He said 7:30. So when did I start? I started at 9 o'clock. So from my house. So that's the commitment level when I see people, and it really gives me immense confidence to be there in this. The second thing in today's topic, also when the HSBC, Mr. Nilkant was saying, he said, "Tike raho," that hit me, and I said, it's the right terminology for our clients as well as us. People who have been in MFD business, though our payouts are going down, though there are a lot of challenges in KYC, Tike raho is the thing which will get us through. And the next 10 years, or 10, 16 years, the next, I would say this decade, 2014 and till 2040, 2030, and then the next decade from 2030 to 40 is what we are going to see a tremendous change. Mr. Subramaniam from Sundaram Mutual Fund said, 16 by 16. You will see your MFD AUM growing 16 times in the next 16 years. At the same time, you will see your clients' money growing 16 times in 16 years. If you do the basic maths, if you have attended his talk few days back when he had in Goa, it was again, such pointers are life-changing, and I would I'm not now looking in the next 5 years, I'm looking at the next 16 years, to be very frank. So I've already marked up saying that, okay, हमारा AUM इधर है, 16 times बढ़ना चाहिए. Simple. So that's how.